Hey there, what's happening, pantsless show days? I promise I'll never do that again. It's me, Aaron Randolph, Pantsless Aaron, as you may know me. I just got a Roxio GameCap HD Pro, which allows me to capture high-definition footage from my video game machines. My consoles, my systems, what have you. So I thought I'd give it a test run, but then I thought, you know what, I might as well throw it up as like a bonus video. And then I was about to just throw the game footage up, and I'm sorry, I keep tapping the keyboard there. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna talk over it, so that there's, you know, something, more of a reason to see it. I mean, you know, not that you couldn't just sit here and watch me play NHL 12, with a custom team of all my friends. You could, but I figured I might as well talk about some stuff, you know, whatever comes to mind. So this is NHL 12, say one of the more favorite games among me and my friends. And one of the things I've always liked to do with the NHL series since I think 2002 is just make up a brand new team with all my friends and make us like super powered. You know, every character, every custom character on our team has 100 for every single stat, and that may be cheating, that may not be, but I mean, half the fantasy is that me and my friends are incredible hockey players. So, you know, I'm just living that out, you know. You may not like it, but you can play your games your way, and I'll play mine my way. How's that? Similarly, along the list of things that people, purists, may complain about, is offsides are completely off. There is still, there are still other normal penalties. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We set up a season. This is on, I don't think this is on the highest difficulty. I think it's the second highest difficulty, the Superstar or maybe All-Star, I'm not sure what it's called. But anyway, yeah, we play a season, and then when the season's over, we play another season, but this time we up the difficulty a level. And the first two times we did this on like the normal difficulty and then the slightly harder difficulty, we were unbeatable. Like, we could not be stopped. And so we finally got to this difficulty, which does cause us to lose from time to time. Which is, you know, disappointing, but it's more enjoyable, more realistic. There's at least a chance that we're going to lose. While there certainly is enjoyment in thoroughly crushing and humiliating our opponents, there's also some enjoyment in the challenge that there could be a loss. So yeah, so that's what's going on here with this. My friends and I have enjoyed playing NHL for many years. We hail from Buffalo, which is hockey country. Not as big as, say, Canada is, but yeah, and the Sabres were at one point the only Buffalo sports team worth a damn. Although I'm not sure how true that is anymore. Oh, Parise. I'll get you for that. I'll get you. So yeah, let's see, what is there to talk about? Stuff going on in the gaming world. There was some news about Square Enix getting their panties in an uproar because Tomb Raider only sold like 3.5 million copies or some absurd nonsense because they were expecting to sell 6 million, and I'm just kind of boggled by this. I'm like, if you set unreasonable expectations, you're not going to meet them. I mean, I'm sure there are more video game console owners than 4 million. I mean, obviously, like, Call of Duty does massively well, but you're not going to get Call of Duty numbers. I'm sorry. Call of Duty is pure addictive video game crack for a lot of people. and Tomb Raider just isn't. Tomb Raider's more of a Skyrim-esque kind of. I mean, I haven't actually played it, and I'm not saying the game is like Skyrim. Don't write mad letters. But it's primarily a single-player game, like Skyrim, and it had tacked-on multiplayer, of course, because publishers are idiots. Multiplayer games are multiplayer games. Single-player games are single-player games. You do not always have to have multiplayer. God, that irritates me. I don't know. Skyrim is the last big release that I can think of that just did not have multiplayer at all, and did not suffer the slightest for it. And nobody in the game publishing business was paying attention to that. They're like, nope, still got to tack on multiplayer to everything. Let's throw it in Spec Ops: The Line, even though that's completely opposite of the message we're trying to send. Morons. Anyway. I mean, I shouldn't be too mad at publishers. I'm not sure. I think 2K Games published Spec Ops. The fact that they published that at all, I should be grateful for. Ignoring their mindless attempt to get multiplayer in it. And just be grateful for the fact that they greenlit it, because it goes against everything that gamers, especially, the Call of Duty lovers, would enjoy, and it says it's not very nice to them. That game does not shine a very pleasant light on these people. So it was extremely brave, of the publisher to take that risk, and I'm grateful for it. But it did not need multiplayer at all, not at all. I didn't play the multiplayer. I didn't give a crap about the multiplayer. Ooh. Damn, it was close. I love it when I get a sweet setup and then just connect and it's beautiful, but when I'm on my own with the computer, it's fairly rare. I usually have to take the puck if I want anything else to happen. Not to say that the computer players on my team are idiots. They will set up and do, hey, just like that. How about that? So... Anyway, back to the topic. So yeah, Square Enix is throwing a fit because Tomb Raider didn't sell like hotcakes, which is weird because you don't think of hotcakes being a particularly massively popular item. But hey, I can't even begin to describe how almost delusional that is, to think that you're gonna get 6 million. 6 million sales for Tomb. I mean, I know Tomb Raider's popular. Believe me, I know. And the game is awesome. Critical acclaim is everywhere. Cassidy is constantly telling me to play this game and try it and enjoy it. Apparently, according to her, once I get a bow, the game becomes magic. And it must have that particular. I can't think of the word. Inflection on the word. It's that magic. But I haven't gotten around to it. It's not on my list. It's not a must-have for me. I actually borrowed it, and this will come to light if the podcast gets posted. I say if because nothing against my Leviathan overseers. They have been wonderful to me, but podcasting has been not terribly reliable as of late. So we'll see what happens. It's not their fault. Most likely, it's just stupid technical things. But anyway, so yeah, I borrowed Tomb Raider, and the very first QuickTime event killed me. And I was completely taken out of the game. I was like, nope. I tried playing for a little further. I ran across another QuickTime event, and I said, no, you know what, I'm done. I was just done. Yes! Very nice, Jorge. So, yeah, I was just done. I was like, you know what, I hate these things. I freaking hate QuickTime events. And unfortunately, off my rebound, awesome. Unfortunately, they're everywhere. You can't escape them. They're in everything. And I'd also picked the same week to get all the game footage for my Resident Evil save files, which of course, the last 5 or 6 games in the series all have QuickTime events. So I was literally, for about a week there, I was in QuickTime event hell. Like, absolute hell. And I discussed this at length on the podcast, but I'm going to discuss it again. I hate QuickTime events. They are atrocious and pointless, and they ruin game experiences for me. They always ruin it. I won't say always. There have been times where they have quote unquote worked. And I won't say worked so much as they didn't really piss me off. But most of the time they piss me off. Part of that is the fact that they completely take me out of the experience. There's a I don't know how prevalent it is in video games, but there's a saying in theater. It's about the fourth wall and the suspension of disbelief. Now, when you're watching a play or a movie or even a video game, and you're getting particularly engrossed, there comes a moment where you forget. It may not last very long, but for a little while at least, you forget that what's happening in front of you isn't real. Like, you buy into it and you become engrossed or immersed, as reviewers like to say. Immersion is the big key thing in games, and I guess that's suspension of disbelief in a nutshell. You're completely immersed. You have suspended your disbelief entirely, and you're completely in this world. And then you are told to press a random button or your character will die. Nothing ruins my suspension of disbelief faster than reminding me I am playing a game. Okay, and some people would say there's always things there to indicate that you're playing a game, like a HUD or, life bars or, whatever. But, I mean, gamers are so used to those that they just kind of, fade into the background. Like, unless you're specifically looking at them, they're not there. They don't detract from the experience when done right, when they're not intrusive. And QuickTime events, by their very nature, are intrusive. I mean, for the most part, this is how QuickTime events usually work. There is, you'll be playing, and then all of a sudden the camera will move. It'll shift from wherever it was, where you were in gameplay. And it will indicate to you that you're about to see a cutscene. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the cutscene may go on for some time before the QuickTime event comes up. And all of a sudden, boom, there's a large flashing picture of a button that you're supposed to press. And it just completely ruins everything for me. I don't understand how there can be people like Leviathan's Jason Kwan who don't mind them, who actually seem to like them. I was confused as hell. I'm like, how can this be seen as a good thing? I mean, he stated a preference for the button mashing ones where you have to press, fast enough to stay alive or whatever. But those don't work the magic on me that they apparently work on him. Like, I don't see how they are any more or less useful than the ones that just make you press a single button or die. God, I just hate them. And it doesn't help matters that I'm getting older. I mean, this is hard to accept, but I mean, I'm at an what? What the hell for? I didn't do anything. Goaltender interference. I didn't even go. What? What the hell just happened? Are you serious right now? What goaltender was I interfering with? Was one from another team just fell onto the ice and I stepped on him? Like, what the hell happened just now? Oh, man. Anyway. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh yes, QuickTime events and the evil that they are. They are evil. They're completely evil. I understand. Ooh, nice move, Bruder. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to engage the player in the cutscene, because there was a time, and this does still happen from time to time. There was a time when there were games that were like had tons and tons of cutscenes, and a good example of a current gen guilty party to this is Devil May Cry 4. It starts off with oh, you son of a bitch. It starts off with Nero. Is that his name? I don't remember. It's been a while since I played, but I remember the opening cutscene shows the young, Dante-like looking hero dude getting into a fight with many enemies, and it's just a very long, like, martial arts, kind of fancy fight scene with lots of neat camera angles and stuff, and it looks cool. But players were like, why couldn't I have done all that cool stuff? Why did I just have to sit here and watch it? And I feel like developers came up with the wrong answer. They're like, okay, let's make it like a choose-your-own-adventure book, except there's only one right there's only one right path through the game, and all the other pages are death. You have to press this button at this time, and sometimes it's randomized, which is an even bigger pain in my ass. But the worst ones are the ones you just don't know are coming. You just have no idea these QuickTime events are coming up, and then so you're not even in the QuickTime event like mood. You're not even ready for them. So in addition to having taking a hit on my reflexes because I'm 32 and ancient, 32 is not ancient, kiddies, and I'll kill anyone who says so. But it's true. As you age, your reflexes get worse and worse. But mine are still sharp. But not sharp enough to always hit every QuickTime event. And yeah, it's about time. How you like me now? So yeah, it's phenomenally irritating because it's such a cheap death. Such a cheap death. Like, that's so unfair. Like, if it was just causing Lara damage, like if it just hurt your character, that's one thing. But I mean, these outright killed me. I mean, granted, they don't put you back very far. I mean, this was one of Jason's arguments, that they don't really hurt you, like you just go back a few seconds and you have to do it again. But that's the point. I shouldn't even have to go back and do it again. It should never have happened in the first place. It was phenomenally cheap. And it just, oh god, QuickTime events are irritating and pointless. And he brought up, he was like, well, what about Resident Evil 4 and the Leon versus Krauser fight? I don't even remember that fight. I remember it happening, sure, and I remember there being lots of button presses that you had to keep pressing in order to stay alive. But you know what? I don't remember any of the fight at all. I don't remember what happened. I don't remember particular strikes. I don't remember anything they said. I don't remember any of it. And do you know why? Because all I could focus on were those stupid QuickTime events. I couldn't pay any attention to what was actually happening. I had to keep my mind and my eyes ready for those QuickTime events, so I couldn't even look at the fight scene happening behind them. It's just such a waste. I mean, if you want players to get more involved in the cutscenes, instead of throwing arbitrary, pointless, completely frustrating and irritating QuickTime events in there, why not just make the player play it? Like the regular gameplay. Let them play that part. How hard is that? I just, it's just so irritating. Oh man. I could rant about QuickTime events forever, but I'm not going to. So let's see, what else is there to talk about? Oh well, I can talk about my new GameCap HD Pro. It's nice and shiny and black, and it's got a little light on the top letting me know what's what. Unfortunately, and I didn't know this beforehand, which sucks, because I may have gone with a different game capture card, but I'm kind of like, you know, screw it, I'll work with it. PlayStation 3, which is currently my recording machine of choice, does not allow HDMI output to be recorded, I guess. Something to do with like something called HDCP, and it's some sort of like protection, which kind of sucks. And the Roxio HD capture will not break it, so to speak. But it had the Roxio had a feature that I wanted, which was component cables, because I also do recording from last gen systems like the PS2 and the GameCube. A lot of the Resident Evil actually pretty much all of the Resident Evil footage, with the exception of some of the games on the PS3, was done from the PS2 and the GameCube. At the time, I didn't have the HD capture thing. I just had this cheap, like, $10 thing that you could hook S-video cables and the yellow, white, and red into. And it was sufficient for my purposes for pretty much everything. Right up until, and if you've watched my Resident Evil... Ooh, come on. Oh, damn! I used to be so good at deking, and now I'm not so much. Well, it's the second hardest difficulty level. I'm like, what should I expect? And they're not going to make it easy on me. So anyway, if you watch the Save Files Resident Evil series episode, then you'll know what I mean, and that's that Resident Evil Code Veronica, for whatever reason, and much more than most of the other games, even the other PS2 Resident Evils, Code Veronica looks like shit. Like, I just couldn't get over how bad the game footage looked when I was editing the whole thing together. Oh, and enjoy my my spastic flailing fight style. It's kind of like how I figure I would be in real life. So, and it's not like you can go drunken monkey style on these guys, which is a shame. It should be like an unlockable feature. Should have a full-blown fighting game in here. Anyway, so I was amazed at how bad it looked. Like it just looks terrible. I mean, one of the things I'm going to do this is a when, not an if, when I do my director's cut version of the Resident Evil episode, I am going to recapture all the game footage, because I was so disappointed with how badly Code Veronica looked. And there was another PS2 one that looked crappy. I think it was Outbreak File number 2, which is weird because which is weird because File number 1 looked all right, So yeah, I was not happy with that, and I finally said, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna get an HD capture box, but I had to get one that had HDMI as well as component capability. So I was, on the suggestion of a friend, Il Susan, who is awesome, an incredible YouTube video producer, and very good friend. And, well, she suggested, the first one she suggested was an Elgato, and I think there might be a version of the Elgato that does have component inputs, but the one that I saw, the one that was available on website, because I bought it using credit card. Not that that's any of your business. Ew, get out of my business. The one that they had available there did not have component capability. It just had, from the looks of it on the box, it just had HDMI input and output, and that was it. And I was like, no, I need more. So she recommended the GameCap HD Pro because it's been working like a charm for her. Unfortunately, what I didn't realize was that she exclusively does Xbox 360, whereas I have 360, I have a Wii U, I have a PS3. So penalty shot. Oh man, I'm about I don't know, maybe 1 out of 4 on penalty shots. I'm pretty crappy. I can never say I was good at these because I don't like the camera angle. I wish it was the same as the regular top-down one, because I never feel like I know exactly how close I am to the goalie. Damn it. Well, anyway. So yeah, so aside from that whole can't use HDMI with the PS3 feature, which I can still use component, and this is, I mean, it's labeled as 720p. It doesn't really look 720p, but it looks better than the stuff I had recorded before, for certain, off the PS3. I think it looks pretty sharp. But I may eventually try and do one of those workarounds that I've seen, but didn't mean to bunny suck like that. But hey, I'll take it. So there are workarounds for the PS3 issue, but for now I think I'm just going to stick with this because I've never really been like a huge HD nerd anyway, but I know a lot of people are. I know there are some snobs out there who won't watch any videos if they're not in HD or whatever, so I'm like, whatever. I might as well, and you know, it does look a lot better than just standard 480. So you know, we'll see how it all turns out. I do have a fair amount of Xbox 360 games I could record off of. Ooh, highlight reel. That was a good one. Oh, yeah, that one not so great. I don't know why. The only game probably can't tell which one's the best, but if it were me, I would have started with that last one and ended with the first one. But whatevs. Games will eventually reach that level of sophistication, I guarantee it. So yeah, so we'll see how well the Roxio GameCap HD Pro works out. So far, I'm fairly happy with it. But yeah, it's a matter of the future. Yeah, and like I said, I can do Xbox 360 things on it, but you know, in full, like possibly 1080p HD, but considering my primary shows are both they're both about older games, 5 years or older being the general rule. It might be a little tricky to do some Xbox 360 games, but we'll see. There's always rebound! Suck it, Brodner! Brodner's having a bad day. So, bam! Right home. Nice play, Rose. Way to be coming up. Way to follow me in. Anyway, so that's what's going on with me. Despite the game footage for Code Veronica and some of the other PS2 ones not looking great, I was really pleased with how the Resident Evil episode turned out. That was a ton of work. That was the most effort I've put into a video game, or a video game review, I should say, a video for Pantscast Shorts or for Safe House or anything in a very, very long time. Not since the Tex Murphy finale, the Overseer review, have I put that much effort into something. And even then, I would have to say it only edges out the Resident Evil video simply due to scheduling, because there wasn't just me, you know. There were other cast members and special effects and other things that took up a great deal of time in the Tex Murphy Overseer video, but the Resident Evil one was just all me, which I have come to prefer. I don't mind doing the collaborative ones. As a matter of fact, we've been talking a great deal about some other ones that may be coming up. We'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. And where I may be collaborating with various individuals. my friend David Ottavino has been in my last two save files in a row, and it wasn't by design originally. Like I didn't go, oh, I put him in, the last one, I might as well put him in this one, so we'll do Resident Evil. It wasn't like that, but it was just like, handy bonus. But yeah, but I've wanted to collaborate with him for so long. He's such a, I don't know how to describe it. He's like a kindred spirit. We went to Niagara University together for theater, and of all of my theater classmates, he was the only one, and he was a class behind me. So this is out of several classes. He was the only one that had that same love for video games that I do. So he's very high on my list of people that I really want to work with. Unfortunately, he lives about an hour to an hour and a half away. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. And it doesn't mean it won't be done. Yeah, I typically prefer to work alone, because that means I don't have to jump through hoops to get everybody in place. I don't have to worry about anybody like overriding me or overriding my script. It's kind of I don't know if selfish is not the right term, egotistical maybe. But I have a hard time when somebody tells me that something I've written isn't funny, and that does occasionally happen. And sometimes they're right. I have written things that I was like, afterwards I was like, yeah, right, that just kind of sucks. But every now and then, and this really irritates me, like I'll come up with something that I think is absolutely hysterical, and they either won't do it or they kind of like flake out. So, yeah, that's just one of my major irritants, and that probably stems from me being a writer and writers having a hard time editing themselves. They may have, in all cases, they may have been right. They may have been right that it wasn't as funny as I thought it was, or what have you. But it was my video, and therefore it was my call to make. At least that's the way I feel about it. So, anyway, that's just one of a couple of reasons why I generally don't like making videos with other people involved. But for the most part, the collaborative efforts have been not only pleasant but a bonus. I guarantee the Contra episode of the Save Files would not have been nearly as awesome without the input of Stevie and Jorge. It's still one of my favorites, just for sheer ridiculousness. Oh man. Anyway, yeah, we've had a lot of fun with some of the collaborative ones. Oh damn it! Curse you! Is that Eliash? Curse you! So anyway, well, I'm still up on him. But yeah, for the most part, I've been sticking to the single. I knew this one was going to be a single-person effort, especially considering that I was doing the entire series. There's no way I was going to add that aggravation on top of everything else I had to go through. Speaking of which, this is something I meant to explain earlier when I was first talking about it, but I got off on this tangent. You really shouldn't let me go off like that. Anyway, So total, the amount of work that went into the Resident Evil, while not as much as Overseer, was still pretty massive. I took, I don't know how many gigabytes. I mean, it was a lot. It was probably over 100 gigabytes of video game footage. It was a couple of hours for the first Resident Evil game because I had made some points about the ending and the script, and I didn't want to take away from them. The original thought was to do like a tiny blurb, like a very small amount. But the more I wrote, the more I went, no, I have to talk about this too, and I have to bring up this, and I have to talk about this. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, 3 paragraphs at the most, Most of the games wound up with 2 paragraphs, but some of my favorites, like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4, wound up with 3. So it wound up being a massive undertaking, and to get some of the footage, like the Wesker footage from Code Veronica, I had to play Code Veronica about an hour and a half in. Most of the games I was lucky; I only had to do about a half an hour, but for a lot of them, I did a half an hour, and then I wound up going back because I had talked about things in the script that I didn't have footage of, and I don't take other people's footage. I may change my mind about that, but only if I ask first and they say it's okay. But wow, kind of surprised that worked. Well, way to go, Jesse. So anyway, where was I? I don't know. I was talking about something. Oh yeah, save files. Resident Evil was a huge, massive undertaking. The next ones will not be so big, I promise. I've got some fairly big videos coming up soon for Leviathan and eventually my YouTube channel. You can look forward to a interview with Chris Jones, the creator of Tex Murphy and actor, star, game developer, project leader. I think he's technically game director for Project Fedora coming out this fall. And we had a video interview. He surprisingly agreed to it, and it was a lot of fun. And I snuck it in short side. Gotta like that. So that's exciting. He's one of my favorite game devs. He's kind of I won't say he's one of my heroes. If I ever get around to making my own games and game studio, then he would definitely be one of the first on my list of gaming heroes. But he certainly played one of my favorite gaming heroes of all time. Tex Murphy and his adventures are very near and dear to my heart. As you know, if you've seen the save files at all, I won't stop talking about them. But in this case, I've got a very, very genuine reason to talk about them, because I'm talking with the man himself. I've been very lucky in that ever since it was just kind of a thing. Like I did a long time ago, I did the save files for the entire Tex Murphy series, and the gang at Big Finish Games found another highlight reel. The gang at Big Finish Games found out. And they posted it to their Facebook page, which, I felt extremely, honored. I was like, they noticed my work and they liked it? So I was thrilled. I was like, oh man, and that's when I decided, immediately that I was going to do each of the FMV games individually, and I wound up emailing. Someone at Big Finish Games because I wanted to ask permission. I had it in my head from the beginning that maybe I could get maybe Chris Jones would be interested in doing a line or two for the video, and I emailed them. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we love your videos. We'd be happy to have Chris do something for you." And I was like, "Really?" I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is awesome." So what happened was this was around the time of the Double Fine Kickstarter, and that had been a massive success. And they were thinking at the time that they were going to try something similar. They decided to start, their quote unquote marketing, and they started reaching out. They did other videos that I'm aware of. There's one interesting side story to the Tex Murphy series, kind of like an alternate universe kind of thing, that Chris Jones actually did a full reading for, it was like an audiobook almost. Anyway, I may not be remembering it right. Yeah! Brodeur! Letting them all in. Anyway. So they were happy to do it. Any additional attention they could get for Tex Murphy would be to their advantage, to increase brand awareness, I suppose. and also, hey, sorry, Brodeur, it's just not your day. Where was I? Oh yeah. So they were happy to get Tex more notice, as it were, more attention, and they said, yeah, we'd be happy to have Chris do something. He can either do something on film or he can do something over audio. And I was so tempted to get something on film, but I just knew that I didn't have any sort of I just felt like I didn't have any sort of location that would blend well with the location that they had, or that they had access to. I mean, aside from just doing a house and just having Chris show up, in some other random house, that might have worked. But I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. So I was like, you know what? And what didn't occur to me until much later, unfortunately, is that they could have just put him in front of a green screen, and I could have put him anywhere, which is a shame, because it would have been really cool to have him actually in the video with me. But as it was still a huge thrill when they sent me the audio files for that. And ever since that that collaboration, I have been in contact with Courtney at Big Finish Games, and she is a lovely woman and an awesome human being, and she's just been really super helpful in everything that I wanted to do. So I've just been really lucky. Aside from that, the fact that Chris Jones and the others at Big Finish Games have happily, signed on for the things that I've asked them to do. So I had this going on, this pleasant, association with them, and I had the idea to help out the Kickstarter by making, a parody video of Coney 2012. And I decided to call it Murphy 2012, and I came up with this huge plan. We were going to have posters made up and everything. And just for fun, I said, I asked them if they wanted to be involved in any way, but the poster's a little on the risque side. The humor is more mine than it is Tex's. I have an extremely, extremely dirty mind. And Tex just generally doesn't lean that way, but that's okay. That's one of the reasons why we love him and why he's accessible to more than just adults. So anyway, my time's running short, so I'm just gonna say they didn't want to do anything particularly to help out with that because of the risque humor, which was fine. I was like, that's fine. So, but I asked them if they would like to have the posters, because we had leftovers. As it turned out, we only used one for shooting. I wound up sending them the rest of the posters, and they sent 2 back signed by Chris and Aaron and a bunch of the gang. I don't know if Adrian's on there. I'd have to take a look, but that's one of my favorite keepsakes from doing the save files and doing these videos with pencil shorts and all this. It's one of my favorite things ever, is just having that poster with the elephant's trunk going up the donkey's ass, and next to it there is Chris Jones' signature. It's oh man, it's just one of those things you can't make up. So yeah, so I was really pleased with how everything, all my associations with them have been really positive. and that's how I landed the interview. I said, if you want to start getting hype going, I'd be more than happy to interview him and do a preview whenever. Unfortunately, they didn't have any preview materials for me, but that's okay. I'm not gonna chide him for that. The interview is interesting, and I really enjoyed doing it. So you should enjoy it too. But the game's over, so that's pretty much all the time I have to talk at you. So catch you later, pantsless shorties. I lied.